Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're not just looking at pharmaceutical history. We are really unpacking the whole chemical saga behind cortisone.
Right.
Our mission is to figure out how this so-called miracle drug of the mid-20th century was actually this perfect storm of, clinical detective work, some pretty intense lab rivalry, and revolutionary chemistry.
And it's so important to start there. I mean, these steroids, specifically corticosteroids, they weren't magic.
No.
They changed medicine because they gave us a way to regulate inflammation and the immune system. It all started by, well, learning how to harness these hormones from the adrenal cortex.
And that whole journey kicks off with a genuine medical puzzle, one that was observed by the rheumatologist Philip S. Hench. He noticed that the debilitating symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis would just dramatically improve when patients were either pregnant or, and this is the weird part, afflicted with jaundice.
And that's the fascinating thing, isn't it? That anomaly, a moment of, physiological stress was somehow quieting this massive inflammatory disease.
So what did he think was going on?
Well, Hench hypothesized there had to be some kind of causal agent, something the body was producing.
Substance X.
He tentatively labeled it Substance X. And that clinical observation, that piece of detective work, it essentially set the bullseye for the chemists.
So the hunt is officially on, and at the same time, you've got these chemical tracks running in parallel.
All right.
You've got Edward C. Kendall at the Mayo Clinic, who was already isolating hormones from the adrenal cortex.
Yeah.
And by 1935, he'd secured something he called compound E.
Yes.
But if they only had this vague substance X to go on, how did the chemists even know where to begin looking? I mean, among the hundreds of compounds in the adrenal cortex.
That is the key challenge, right? Kendall and his rival, today's Reichstein over in Switzerland, they were just methodically mapping out all these structures.
A full-on race.
A huge race. Discovery was one thing, but proving which compound was the active one, the anti-inflammatory agent, that was the massive step. Reichstein was immensely competitive, and he isolated dozens of different steroids.
But Kendall got the right one.
Kendall secured compound E, the right one, and he laid the groundwork for identifying its clear structure.
Okay, so here's the pivot in the story. Even when they know the formula for compound E, they don't really have the drug.
Not in any usable quantity.
Was the cost of just sourcing the raw material, the adrenal glands, was that a bigger initial problem than the synthesis itself?
Oh, absolutely. The sheer amount of adrenal glands you'd need to produce enough for even a clinical trial was, well, it was impossible. That was the huge supply problem.
So how did they solve it?
The breakthrough came in 1946, and it wasn't from isolation. It came from Louis H. Serret at Merck. He achieved the partial synthesis of cortisone.
Wait. So they were starting from bile acid, specifically deoxycholic acid, and turning that into a life-saving drug.
Exactly. And you have to understand, this wasn't just mixing two chemicals together. It was like a multi-stage assembly line inside a beaker. It required dozens of really intricate steps to turn what is essentially a biological waste product into that complex steroid structure.
And that industrial chemistry, that's what turned compound E from a lab curiosity into a real medicine.
A medicine you could actually manufacture at scale.
Yes, which sets the stage for September 1948. Hench's team finally administers the new synthesized compound E to rheumatoid arthritis patients.
At the Mayo Clinic.
And the results were what, immediate?
Immediate and just spectacular. Patients who couldn't walk were suddenly mobile.
Wow.
That success earned Kendall, Reichstein, and Hench the Nobel Prize in 1950. It was really the peak of the miracle drug story.
What was the first sign that this, wasn't an unmitigated success? There had to be a catch.
The side effects, they followed almost immediately. They very quickly realized that the dosage and the duration were critical.
What kind of issues?
Things like an increased risk of infection, osteoporosis, major complications with sugar metabolism. It all became apparent very quickly. And this is what established the modern theme for steroid use.
The trade-off.
The trade-off. Balancing its incredible anti-inflammatory power against the inevitable biological cost.
So the key takeaway here is pretty clear. Cortisone wasn't just about finding a chemical. It was this necessary synergy of sharp clinical observation, really complex chemistry, and then industrial-scale manufacturing. All of that delivered a revolutionary jump in what medicine could do.
I think the biggest lesson cortisone taught medicine is that some of the most powerful drugs also demand the most careful management. It established that essential trade-off in modern medicine, that powerful benefit always comes with a serious cost. So a thought for you, the listener. What other revolutionary medical discoveries quickly revealed that same kind of necessary trade-off?